Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving straight into what feels like a leadership retreat mixed with a tech summit. We're looking at Insight for Alignment's massive new infrastructure play. And honestly, this is a fascinating space. We are moving way past the era of AI just spitting out answers to our questions, right? Instead, we're stepping into a world where technology actually builds our capacity as human beings. It's a fundamental shift.
Look at this number. Over 100 million people globally. Think about that scale for a second. Depending on how you define wellness and coaching, there is already this massive cohort of people using AI as a personal coach or, a reflective companion. Millions of users aren't just looking up random trivia anymore. They are bringing their raw relationship issues and their workplace anxieties directly to platforms like ChatGPT, which, by the way, has over 900 million weekly active users on its own. People are literally reflexively reaching for their phones the exact second something challenging happens in their life. But here's the thing. This massive user base, they are completely over generic chatbots. As the quote says, the next generation of AI isn't merely ask me something. It knows relevant context. That's the core idea here. Nobody wants a system that spits out a dry textbook answer. They want contextual guidance right when they need it. Think about it. If you ask an AI how to give feedback to a coworker, you don't want a generic corporate template. You want it to know that, hey, this colleague is super defensive, I tried this specific strategy last week, and I need a totally new approach today. It's shifting from ask me a random question to actually understanding your ongoing real-world context. Okay, so let's dive into the roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover 1. The personal coaching shift. 2. Identifying key market gaps. 3. The human readiness engine. 4. Designing for need states. And 5. The 2030 commercial opportunity. That's our path from simple generative AI to actionable human development. Let's get into it. Starting right off with Section 1, the personal coaching shift. We are watching consumer behavior rapidly move from just hunting for information to seeking actual usable ability. So, the old internet model basically gave us interest media. You know the drill. Social platforms designed to feed you more of whatever you just clicked on, purely to keep your eyeballs glued to the screen. But we're transitioning into an entirely new paradigm called ability media. Instead of just an endless generic entertainment feed, this new model provides contextual guidance based on what you're actually trying to pull off in real life. It's like the system says, okay, because you're dealing with this specific difficult situation at work, here is the exact micro skill you need to practice next. It is a massive leap from just scrolling and consuming content to actively practicing a real-life response. Which brings us to Section 2, identifying key market gaps. Because look, we have these billion-dollar language models with incredible raw intelligence, but they're largely failing to connect that intelligence to sustain human development. We're looking at 6 major gaps in the market right now: the moment gap, the continuity gap, the fragmentation gap, the application gap, the human skills gap, and the agency gap. But I want to really zero in on the first 2. First, the moment gap. You know how you learn a management skill in a workshop on Tuesday, but when an actual crisis hits on Thursday, your mind just goes blank? We need the skill in the moment of friction, not just before or after. And second, the continuity gap. It is frankly exhausting to have to repeatedly explain your entire life story to disconnected apps. True continuity means the AI actually remembers your previous practices, your patterns, your unfinished commitments. That is how you bridge the gap between isolated facts and ongoing personal growth. So how do we actually fix this? Well, the answer is definitely not more content. And we absolutely do not need another basic chatbot. The digital world is already fantastic at throwing information at us. What it's completely missing is answering the question, what do I do with this right now in my actual life? To resolve these gaps, we need structured human development support available at the exact moment of need. The fundamental unit of value is shifting. It's no longer about giving users the right answer, it's about building increased human capacity. All right, let's move to Section 3, the human readiness engine. This is Insight for Alignment's core solution, designed to be the connective tissue of our digital lives. So what is human readiness technology? Basically, it's a contextual, real-time development layer sitting right between general AI and real life. Think of it like a highly intelligent triage nurse. It's not trying to compete with ChatGPT on general trivia. Instead, it's figuring out exactly what emotional or strategic capacity you, as a human, need right at this very second based on your situation. It acts as an intelligent router, taking all that massive computational power and channeling it directly into practical human readiness exactly when life happens. And this brilliantly illustrates how it works in practice through something called the SMART loop. Step 1 is sense the situation, like the system understands you're feeling anxious right before a big pitch. Step 2 is maintain useful memory, so it remembers your overarching goals and maybe how you've presented in the past. Step 3, adapt the learning. It selects a quick grounding practice tailored to your energy levels right then and there. Step 4 is return and review, following up with you later to see what worked or what made it tough. And finally, Step 5, transfer into real life. This entire loop transforms AI from a machine that just talks intelligently into a system that actively supports your intelligent development. That takes us to Section 4, designing for need states. Let's step away from the tech for a second and look at the real, visceral human experience. Because let's be real, people don't unlock their phones searching for some clunky category like adaptive leadership training. They open them thinking, man, I have this meeting at work and I have no idea how to handle it. Insight for Alignment's framework maps these highly relatable need states directly to specialized environments. If a user is feeling like I have too much in my head, they get routed to Get Clear for some whole person clarity. If they say, I'm running beyond capacity, they go straight to StrideWise to focus on pacing and burnout. Or I have this meeting at work, and boom, they're in lead kind. Or I'm leaving one season and they get advance. Mapping it this way keeps the whole ecosystem from feeling like an overwhelming, cluttered app catalog. So instead of forcing you to dig through a folder of 50 unused wellness apps to find a lesson, it's a streamlined flow. You just tell the system what is happening. From there, it identifies the need, accesses the exact right support, helps you practice it right in that moment, and then asks you to return later with what actually happened. It completely cuts out the exhausting process of searching through fragmented programs. It literally just meets you exactly where you are, ready to get to work. And finally, Section 5, the 2030 commercial opportunity. Let's pivot to the macroeconomic view to see the massive financial tailwinds driving this. You can see that tech giants are already building the isolated pieces of this, validating Insight for Alignment's thesis in real time with billions of dollars in infrastructure investments. Microsoft is building a learning agent right in the flow of work. Google is working on a personalized Fitbit AI coach. BetterUp is pushing real-time enterprise coaching. And Coursera, they just dropped a $100 million investment into adaptive AI learning. Why should we care? Because it proves the future isn't just answering questions, it is absolutely about continuous, in-the-moment skill development. Now, what's really interesting here is this massive projected jump in the global corporate e-learning market. We're looking at a leap from about $151.7 billion in 2026 to a staggering $335 billion by 2030. This demonstrates exactly why B2B applications in this space are perfectly positioned. Companies are done with those static, boring training seminars. They're actively moving toward continuous, real-time human skills support for their teams. The AI market is rapidly solving access to intelligence. We are focused on the next layer, access to human development at the moment it is needed. By 2030, the cost of raw AI intelligence is going to plummet. Having basic AI won't be a differentiator. Literally everyone will have it. The true, durable value, the actual moat, lies in the proprietary architecture. It's the developmental frameworks, the smart routing, and that longitudinal memory that tracks your personal progress over years. That connective tissue is where the real value is. Which brings us to our final question. I want to leave you with this to chew on. As AI becomes completely ubiquitous in our devices and our routines, does using this technology actually make the human being more capable? The goal isn't just a smarter machine, it's a more resilient, more capable human. That is the true shift from artificial intelligence to human capacity. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll catch you in the next one.